These are the recommended suspension settings for aftermarket off-the-shelf suspension. That is the damper and springs that I found online. This is what the kit would come with, off the shelf, that is. Okay, car settings, comfort mediums, so emulating a Federal tire or so, and I think it's linear. This natural frequency should be a 6 kilogram spring, and this should be an 8 kilogram spring in the rear. And these anti-roll bars, I don't have no idea what exactly they are, but these are the values I got in the game for the anti-roll bar. So this car has a 57% front weight distribution on the mods. I have normal brakes, no mods. Has a 57% front distribution and a 43% rear distribution. And so it has a similar tuning philosophy as a front wheel drive car, and that is to have a softer front spring and a stiffer front anti-roll bar. And what that does is it causes the soft front spring, or relatively soft, it's not actually that soft, the soft front spring helps the car dive in weight transfer situations, and then the anti-roll bar makes when you're turning, makes the inside tire have more consistent contact with the road. And then what that does in conjunction with the stiffer rear spring is the stiffer rear spring forces the front tires into the road when turning. So it's like a lever, a free-floating lever on 4 wheels, I guess. And as the car turns, this rear spring loads up faster than the front, causing it to reach its maximum slip angle sooner, and also pushes the front end down, giving the front end better contact. So you get better mid-corner. The weight distribution is kind of not ideal for a front engine or front rear-wheel drive car. This is not how I'd like to tune cars, rear-wheel drive cars anyway. But with this weight distribution, this is optimal, I guess. Another setting that I prefer that is about 0.2 slower is my usual spring settings. This has not as good mid-corner performance, but has better throttle feel, so that the car doesn't want to, it's not as touchy on throttle, doesn't want to snap oversteer as much or go past maximum slip in the rear as easily, because it has the opposite effect of stiff front spring and soft rear spring, causing the front tires to push the rear end into the road, which with the a stiffer rear anti-roll bar makes both rear tires have better contact with the road, and it gives the car a better throttle response that I prefer. However, these settings are faster, 0.2 faster or so, approximate, it's not exact 0.2, little less than 0.2. And on to, I know both of them are basically the same. I mean, they are exactly the same modification wise. No modifications. Normal brakes. Oh, and the brake bias is on both. Rear brake bias set to 5. And differentials is the whatever normal is. It's supposed to emulate a Torsen differential. And onto the replay. This replay is with the stiff rear end and soft front end. Play replay. And change the view. Nope. Wrong button. Replay options. Display all. There we go. A little bit snap oversteer because of the stiffer springs. The car likes to rotate on throttle. It's best to drive mid-corner, through the mid-corner on throttle. And sometimes it's just a little bit too much understeer. Better to not shift up there. And shift into third here with these tires. With a 1 minute 30.817. And I will show the leaderboard, or not the leaderboard, the ranking board, with the correct car here. So, this is the time I got with that setup, the stiff front end, or the soft front end setup with the stiff anti-roll in the front. And then a 31.000 was what I got with the stiff front end and soft rear end with the stiff anti-roll in the rear. So 0.2 is quite a bit to gain for having better suspension. But as an additive, or not an additive, a tangent, these are the stock settings. And this is a 6 kilogram spring, approximately. I don't have the exact weights. This is just what it is in other sims. So it's not going to be exact for this sim, but it's very close to a 6 kilogram spring. And the front natural frequency for a 2.57 kilogram spring should be around 0.88. And this does not go any lower. So I can't emulate the stock settings. Anti-roll is just whatever feels close. These could be slightly different, maybe a little more stiff in the front or a little soft stiff, depending on how an individual, apart from me, experiences what this car might actually drive like. I settled on 5 in front and 5 in the rear. And these are the actual camber settings that I have with a toe. I don't have toe adjustment, so the toe naturally settled with the solid toe bar at 0.5 degrees, and then I have toe out of 0.1 degrees. And I have no idea if the differential is emulated properly anyway. And I'm going to drive this car. It's going to, let's see, yeah, save the best lap replay. Right. Okay, and I'll save the replay too. Is that, yeah. Alright, now this stock car with similar tires to what I was running on my track day video. The oversteeriness is similar. I don't know how exact it is with the controller. Stay in second. It's really soft. This car actually doesn't oversteer mid-corner. I think it might be the differentials, but it should rotate a little bit better mid-corner. So just kind of rotate through the corner on throttle. Same with this one and this one. Downshift to second. Stay in second. So it's really tempting to shift into third here in real life, and in the video I shift into third there a couple times, but it's best to stay in second. and a 35.7, which is a little bit quicker than what I was getting on the track day that I have posted with these tires. And there's something else I was going to go over. What was it? I'm going to think for a second. Oh, that's what I was going to mention. So I would prefer to tune the car this way. I said that earlier. And the reason why this other setting is faster for me personally to drive is because the brake bias does not go back far enough. So a little bit of mid-corner understeer is fine for me. But if I can get the car to rotate on the brakes better, I'd prefer to have better throttle feel than to have it so snappy but have really good mid-corner grip. So this car is, like I said, is more for getting the front tires more contact with the road for better grip, with the soft front spring and the stiff front anti-roll and roll bar, and the stiff rear spring to push the front tires down into the road I mentioned before. So like I said, I'd prefer to run settings similar to this, and these aren't optimized either, but I'd prefer similar settings with the stiff rear anti-roll bar and the soft rear spring, because it gives me better throttle feel with the rotation. The rotation feel is better with similar settings to these, and then get the car to rotate on the brakes would make this a little bit faster for me to drive, for my driving style. And yeah, like I said, these are slower but preferred. Till the next one.